It's Father's Day soon. The holiday and the film. Hi, I'm Barnaby Falls, and I'm producing the short independent film Father's Day. A story about a teenage daughter who visits her beleaguered dad on Father's Day. However, he's in prison. In this worst of situations, can he be a father figure and put his troubled daughter on the right path? I went to LA to talk with the director of the film, Tim Russ. This is the interview. Oh, and at the end, there's a special message from Tim and I. Check it out. Hi, I'm Barnaby Falls, and I'm the producer of the short independent film Father's Day. The story about redemption and a father's strength. Can he help his daughter in the worst of situations to turn her around and put her on the right path? I'm talking with the key players working on the film, and today I'm talking with Tim Russ, director of the Father's Day film. Hi Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Great, great. Thanks for coming and talking with me about the film. First, to give a little bit of context and history about us. We met about 2 years ago.
Yes.
I believe on another film that you were directing.
Yeah.
And I had a very small part in the film. It was the office scene.
Yes.
And you were the boss, I was one of the workers, and the main character comes in. This is just a funny story that happened during filming, is that she comes in, gets a phone call and storms out, and then both you and I kind of get up and we're like, what just happened? What's going on? So I just have a fun memory of that. About 2 years later, I then sent you the script to
Yes.
Father's Day.
Yes.
And when you first got it, talk to me a little bit about what was it that made you think, I would really like to direct this film?
Well, the story, struck a chord with me personally because I have a daughter who's a teenager. And we've had, our bouts of disagreements and things like that. And my main focus is to keep her on the straight and narrow, and not to go down the wrong path, and to figure out what she wants to do with her life down the line. And sometimes that's a struggle, because once she reaches the point of independence, that's what you end up getting as an independent person, and with their own mind and their own will and all that good stuff. So it's kind of difficult to maintain the relationship sometimes with your kids as they get older, because they start to want to do what they want to do. And in this particular story, it would be twice as difficult for the father figure in the story to want to make sure that his daughter stays on the path, when in fact, he is not on the right path, or hasn't done something that was right himself, and she's got to confront that with him, and it makes his job even harder to try to persuade her not to come down the same road that he did. And it's traumatic for the daughter, and for the whole family.
Yeah.
So it's a very personal story. I can certainly relate to the father figure in terms of his circumstance and the position he was in, and I think that the audience would also sympathize with the father in this particular case, in his position, and hope to see through his relationship with the daughter how that could be, if his purpose of keeping her on the right path could be resolved. Could that be achieved?
Exactly. No, definitely.
As far as her response and how she reacts to him.
Sure. No, thanks for that. Back to you. Everybody knows you from the wildly successful Star Trek Voyager. You've been busy, doing a lot of things.
Yes.
Recently, we saw you on the Orville.
Yes.
Yeah. I also saw a clip of you on NCIS New Orleans.
Yes.
And I thought you probably had a lot of fun on that one, because I saw that maybe you brought your music into the show.
Yes.
And I know you're passionate about that.
Yes, absolutely.
So that must have been a lot of fun. But tell us about this more recent NASA project. That sounds interesting.
I was chosen by NASA's Unexplained Files, which is a TV show, documentary on Sci Channel. And because I'm an amateur astronomer, they approached me about being one of the contributors to the show in terms of astronomy, space science, and things like that. I do know a great deal about it. I've been a hobbyist for almost 30 years.
Nice.
So, and I think partly because I am associated with the Star Trek series as an actor, that's one of the reasons why they brought me on board to contribute some segments to the show, 3 or 4 or 5 episodes that I appear in for this new season. And I was thrilled to be able to do that because I do watch the show. I enjoy the show a great deal. Some really fascinating stories. So to be able to pitch in on those from a documentary standpoint and from a hobbyist standpoint of astronomy, I was thrilled to be able to do it. It was great.
You're been really busy, hard to get a hold of. So thanks for taking the time here. Along with that, you've got I see over 40 credits as a director alone, which is very impressive. So I know I'm in good hands with this one. The next question on Father's Day. Some deep characters, deep emotions going on. The text reads pretty simple, but there's a lot of emotional content going on between the father, the daughter. They both have character arcs, but for the father, I kind of see a character wave going on, where the daughter is trying to bring him up. He sees like, what kind of a father am I? He kind of goes down. Then they both kind of tank out. And can a father be a father to pull that through in the last moment in this worst of situations? How do you, as a director, get to the actors to pull out that emotional connection and feed off of each other as scene partners?
Well, when I was in graduate school, one of the things that we discussed was the concept of phenomenology, which is, in a very fundamental, basic way, everything that is needed to understand the whole is within the whole. So everything that's needed to understand where the emotional beats are in the story is in the writing. And so the fundamental aspect of doing, whether it's a screenplay or whether it's a stage play or whether it's a book, is in the writing. If you don't have the emotional beats and content in the writing of the piece, the actor is not going to be able to grab the handles on it. You got to give the actor the handles based on what the dialogue and the situation is. So once you have the setting and the circumstance, you start with that as the foundation. And then as the scene progresses, you're going to have the give and take of each character. What is this character's objective? What is the other character's objective? What is that conversation going to look like? Each one is giving and taking from each other. One is listening, one is responding. And the circumstances that they're in are the backdrop, in this case in the prison yard, and the emotional circumstance of the father being where he is and the daughter coming to see him. That is their basic fundamental, backdrop. But as the conversation goes, the daughter may push a button, or he might push a button, or he might say something that she reacts to. She might say something that he has to defend and to come back at or to apologize for. And she has to understand from his point of view why he did what he did and why he is where he is. And that is a give and take. It's a reacting and acting, acting and reacting. And the most important thing about these pieces, as a director for me, is what's my script? What are the words? What are the contents? What's the contents of the scene? It's not just them sitting there in absolute silence with just expressions on their face. Yes, you could sort of shoot a scene like that and let only the expression tell the story. But if you want the audience to get the backstory and the details and information, you need to have the right dialogue in place to convey those emotional beats.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
It's very important to me. Shooting it is, it's mechanical. It's a mechanical process. Composition and things like that. That's only one aspect of it. The main aspect of it is, what are you working with? If you have a scene that doesn't have dialogue that explains and tells the story, then you just wasted a whole lot of time shooting nothing.
Exactly.
So it's very important to start with the dialogue, start with the script, start with the story. What is the story? What are the emotional beats? The actors will take each one of those beats and they have to come in and out of those emotional beats based on their ability to do so. That's where I can try to help them to reach those emotional beats. And it may be something as subtle as saying, take a moment here, give it some thought, let that roll around your head for a minute before you respond. Or it could be something where, let's do an exchange, let's take the pace up on this exchange and then stop. Take a beat, take a pause as you shift gears. And that's the main thing, is to make sure that they play the beats. and the arc of the scene. Every scene has an arc, and we want to get the arc of this piece all the way through.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I've had directors even have us do exercises.
Yep.
That aren't even related to the script.
That's correct. Yes.
Also, so
yeah.
very good advice from you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we do need to fund this thing, don't we?
We do. Yeah. You do.
And
need to fund
we're going to be announcing a crowdfunding campaign coming soon. The main thing that you and the audience can help us with is to like and share this post. The power of social media to gain exposure for this project is phenomenal. If you like and share this post, if you see what you like, give us a like and a share. That'll definitely get us the most exposure possible. And when the crowdfunding campaign starts, it'll be all gravy from there. So thank you very much. Thanks for watching. You guys are awesome. And Tim, thanks for coming by.
My pleasure.
You're the
My
best.
pleasure. Yes.
Great.
Any help you guys can do to help us out to make this project happen, it would be great. It's a dedication to Father's Day, and it's a very touching story.